Good evening. Welcome to the Elyria City Council meeting for Monday, May 5th, 2025. At this time, we'll take a moment of reflective silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Mitchell, would you please lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. If everyone in the audience would please turn their phones to the off or silent mode, it'd be greatly appreciated for the council meeting. Mr. Clerk, I have a roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Callahan.
Here.
Mr. Sarah.
Here.
Mr. Armstrong.
Here.
Mr. Oswald.
Here.
Mrs. Mitchell.
Here.
Mr. Tolet.
Here.
Mr. Lippian. Mrs. Sawerka. Here. Mrs. Davis.
Here.
Mr. Schneider.
Here.
Mr. Stewart.
Here.
We have one absence.
Can I get a motion for Mr. Lippian?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Public hearings?
We have several. You are hereby notified that a public hearing will be held on Monday, May 5th, 2025 at 7 p.m. to consider the following. The matter of an ordinance amending Elyria Codified Ordinances, Chapter 1125, Definitions, Section 1125.61.1, Medical Marijuana Entity.
Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? I declare this public hearing has been held. Yes.
Yeah. Sponsored by Community Development. An ordinance amending Elyria Codified Ordinances, Chapter 1125, Definitions, Section 1125.61.1, Medical Marijuana Entity.
Mr. Schneider.
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed in its second reading under suspension of rules and declared an emergency.
Second.
Second by Ms. Mitchell. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question has been called. On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2025-61. You are hereby notified that a public hearing will be held on Monday, May 5th, 2025 at 7 p.m. to consider the following. The matter of an ordinance amending Elyria Codified Ordinances, Chapter 1135, Conditional Uses, Section 1135.07, Medical Marijuana Facilities.
Is there, including the cultivation facilities? Should that all be part of that?
Oh, let's see if I might be out of order here.
Oh, she said we didn't have to put it
Yeah,
all in
it's
there.
all right.
It's
Just
okay.
a second.
Yeah.
Point of order through you, Mr. President. Yes, the notice for publication was for the amendment to the section. The ordinance specifically then goes on to talk about medical marijuana facilities, including cultivation facilities, processing facilities, dispensaries, and testing laboratories.
Okay. Yep, very good.
Yep, okay.
Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? I declare this public hearing has been held.
Sponsored by Community Development. An ordinance amending Elyria Codified Ordinances, Chapter 1135, conditional uses, Section 1135.07, medical marijuana facilities, including cultivation facilities, processing facilities, dispensaries, ad testing laboratories.
Mr. Schneider.
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed in its second reading under suspension of rules and declared an emergency.
Second by Ms. Mitchell. Is there any further
Question.
discussion? Question's been called. On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2025-62. You are hereby notified that a public hearing will be held on Monday, May 5th, 2025, at 7 p.m. to consider the following: the matter of an ordinance amending Elyria Codified Ordinances, Chapter 1160, B-B, Business General District, Section 1160.04, Conditional Permitted Uses.
Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? I declare this public hearing has been held.
Sponsored by Community Development, an ordinance amending Elyria Codified Ordinances, Chapter 1160-B-G, Business General District, Section 1160.04, Conditionally Permitted Uses.
Mr. Schneider.
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed in its second reading under suspension of rules and declared an emergency.
Second by Ms. Mitchell. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question's been called on the suspension. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2025-63. You are hereby notified that a public hearing will be held on Monday, May 5th, 2025, at 7 p.m. to consider the following: the matter of an ordinance amending Elyria Codified Ordinance, Chapter 1164, L-I, Light Industrial District, Section 1164.04, Conditionally Permitted Uses.
Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? I declare this public hearing has been held.
Sponsored by Community Development, an ordinance amending Elyria Codified Ordinances, Chapter 1164, L-I, Light Industrial District, Section 1164.04, Conditionally Permitted Uses.
Mr. Schneider.
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed in its second reading under suspension of rules and declared an emergency.
Second by Ms. Mitchell. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
Oops.
Excuse me, on the emergency, point of order. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2025-64. You are hereby notified that a public hearing will be held on Monday, May 5th, 2025, at 7 p.m. to consider the following: the matter of an ordinance amending Elyria Codified Ordinances, Chapter 1166, H-I, Heavy Industrial District, Sections 1166.04, Conditionally Permitted Uses.
Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any proponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? Are there any opponents? I declare this public hearing has been held.
Sponsored by Community Development, an ordinance amending Elyria Codified Ordinances, Chapter 1166, H-I, Heavy Industrial District, Section 1166.04, Conditionally Permitted Uses.
Mr. Schneider.
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed in its second reading under suspension of rules and declared an emergency.
Second.
Second by Ms. Mitchell. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2025-65. That's all the public hearings?
Can I get approval of the minutes? So moved. Moved by Mr. Sarah, second by Ms. Mitchell. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Remarks and reports from city officials. Mayor Brubaker.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple quick items. On Saturday, I had the opportunity to attend the ribbon-cutting opening of the Inspiration Room at 403 Cleveland Street. That is the same plaza as Dale's Cazeria is on the other end. They have many vendors in there. They also have a small coffee bar in there. I would encourage you to stop in and see the goods that they have there. And today, I had the opportunity to join Mr. DeGallo from Lorraine County Chamber of Commerce as we cut the ribbon for the new Sports Zone Center at 221 Gulf Road, which is right across from the American Legion. That's Wayne Fitzpatrick's building. And he has turned that facility into a very large production studio, podcast studio, radio, office space, conference rooms, and they did that in conjunction with Buckeye Community Bank. So that's another opportunity for the city of Elyria to see some additional growth. And then on Saturday at 9 a.m., Espresso will be cutting the ribbon for the new owners of Espresso, the donut shop. So we're all excited. Most people are excited. I'm not much of a donut eater, but we're excited to have that business reopen and had the opportunity to meet the new owner. The previous owners have been working with them very closely. So a lot of good things happening. You saw my report this weekend, a couple other big projects that are going on. So we have a lot of movement going on right now in the city. Thank you.
Very good. Any questions for the mayor? Ms. Zaworka.
Thank you, through you. Since we're on the subject of food, and I was going to ask the building inspector, but he's not here tonight. The temporary, I'm guessing, French fry facility, funnel cake, that's in front of Cleveland Street there by Rallies, is that a temporary, you know what I'm talking about?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, so that would be inspected by the fire department to make sure that they have their certificates and everything from the state, and then obviously be inspected by the health department. But I'll make sure that I speak with Assistant Chief Gall to make sure he's done his due diligence as well as the health department.
If I could continue, and that's fine. I guess the root of my question is that really what we want right there on that corner of Cleveland Street? I don't know. It looks like it's a temporary structure. It's almost like a carnival-type food vendor. And
Well,
they're going to start popping up there. We'll have them on lots of corners.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, we'll have either Assistant Director Lash or the building inspector take a look at that for sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the mayor? We good? Safety Service Director, Mr. Paranowski.
Thank you, through you. I don't have anything to report this evening, but I'm available to answer any questions.
Any questions for the Safety Service Director? Good. Finance Director Pulaski.
No report this evening, Mr. President.
Any questions? No? Law Director Deary.
Good evening, thank you, through you, Mr. President. Just briefly, as I mentioned at our last meeting, the Court of Common Pleas has officially, formally appointed receiver for the former Days Inn property. That individual has put up their bond and also submitted their oath. There was a walkthrough of the property, so the receiver actually got to go and inside and see it for himself last week. There were various city officials who were there as well. The receiver is doing that as part of his due diligence so that he may move forward with abating that nuisance in the way that he best sees fit and report back to the court. So I believe it was about a week prior to that, several city officials, including myself, Safety Service Director, several others. We sat down, we did emphasize the immediate need to have security there due to the fact that there's still vandalism taking place. There's obvious access that's still being basically happening there, unauthorized access, et cetera. We've talked about the need to have some fencing, that sort of thing. And the receiver definitely seems amenable to that, not the least of which is for safety, but also to maintain what is left of the integrity of the property. So I will continue to update you as I have things to update. But we certainly think that that is good news, not the least of which is because we have someone local that we as a city are able to reach out and make contact to should issues arise there. So, and that, I'm open for questions.
Very good. Mr. Schneider, then Ms. Davis.
Through you, Mr. President, to Law Director Deary, just curious, do you know, is the current owner, are the property taxes current on the facility or the property?
The last that we checked, yes, I believe that they are.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good, thank you.
Ms. Davis.
Through you, President. Did they give you a time frame, or did you give them a time frame of when he could get back with you to let you know what their idea of what they want to do with the property?
I see that Safety Service Director has his hand up, so I would defer to them.
If you don't mind, because I was
not.
there for the walkthrough last week, they're exploring a couple of different possibilities. One is renovating the property, one is potential demolition. So he just got put in place as a receiver, so he has some responsibility to explore all possibilities. I know he was going to look at, what would this be valued if it was to be listed, for instance. So a couple of different things he's exploring, and then I think that'll help him with his decision-making process. And ultimately, it has to go to the court for approval. I don't think that he has a time frame yet because he's still in information gathering phase. But he knows that, we're here and willing to help in any way we can. I anticipate having further conversations with him latter part of this week. And, it's in his hands now, but I think that he's seeing it for everything that it's worth. But he's got to explore some possibilities.
Ms. Davis.
But through you, Chair. So I assume that, I always see homeless people there. But believe it or not, just the other day, young people were coming out of there. And I'm like, how you get in there? These were young people running around the building, coming from in there. And so we can't assume that it's just homeless people there. These young people are coming from, I don't know where, that they think they could just go in the building. So I can just imagine how it looks on the inside. But thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sawerka.
As a follow-up, was the receiver surprised at the condition?
It was hard to tell, but I think that he saw what I'd been telling him, or we'd been telling him now that, our descriptions from our past walkthroughs. He wasn't completely committal on what he, as a conclusion, but I think he saw the seriousness and the condition of the property that I've been describing, where he might have thought I was exaggerating, but it's pretty bad.
Thank you.
I've been in there a couple times now.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Very good. Thank you. Elyria Police Department, Chief Welsh. Any questions for the chief? Very good. Elyria Fire Department, Chief Pernesti.
Good evening. I have no report other than talk about the vendor on Abbey. Inspector Lanowski from our Fire Prevention Bureau inspected the vendor, the food truck, whatever you want to call it. It passed. On our end, there is nothing else from the Fire Prevention Bureau. As long as they have everything allowed or what we need from them as far as fire prevention. Everything else is going to be up on probably the building department's end. So I just wanted to give you, I gave Michael a quick text, and he did answer that question. So it's, from the Fire Prevention Bureau standpoint, it's done, so. He did state to Inspector Lanowski that it's going to be seasonal. So my guess was probably be there throughout the spring and summer.
Any questions for the chief? Thank you, Chief. City Engineer, Mr. Schneider.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple updates on a couple projects. The concrete portion of the resurfacing from last year, they are getting close to wrapping that up. I believe Hawthorne is the only street that hasn't been poured yet, so if the weather stays, well, if it stops raining, we'll get it done. But, so it's been delayed a little bit because of the rain. Also, tomorrow, I mean, if you've been on West Ridge Road, you might have seen signs out there. They started putting those up last week. Tomorrow will be actually the first day of construction for them. They're going to start milling the road. It's going to take about 3 days to mill. The overall project is only going to take about 4 weeks total to complete. So it's a quick mill and fill. But that's also being done through the county as well as the city partnership. So with that, I open up to any council questions.
Ms. Mitchell, then Mr. Oswald, then Mr. Schneider.
Thank you, Chair, through you. Mr. Snyder, are we ready? Have you ranked the streets and got us pricing?
I'm supposed to have those finalized tomorrow as far as the rankings. I have some of the pricing started. It doesn't take me really that long to get a ballpark figure. So I should be ready by Wednesday if that's what you want. I do know that there are a number of council members that might not have had a ride-along yet. So,
And that is, through you, Mr. Chair, and that is my concern. I didn't know that Mr. Lippian was not going to be here this week. I don't want us to pick his streets. I don't want to push it off because we're already behind. So I don't know what to do. So.
Well, I would think that, maybe we'll just have an outreach to Mr. Lippian saying that we're going to move forward with the meet. That's the point right now. We're going to do it on Wednesday, right? Okay. So I guess what we'll do is either Mr. Schneider or yourself can maybe contact him to say, listen, we're moving forward with the streets.
he did provide us with a list of streets. I don't remember, though, off the top of my head, if they were in order, a specific order or not, but he did supply us with streets, so.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll reach out to Mr. Lippian.
Mr. Oswald, and then Mr. Schneider, then Ms. Sawerka. Mr. Oswald.
Through you, Mr. President. Just an update on Gulf Road. Had some issues there right in the middle of the street on Gulf Road from Leary Catholic and heading south.
So those are left over from the big dig. There's a couple manholes that are being abandoned, so they're no longer needed. So that's why the contractor's out there doing that work.
Thanks.
Mr. Schneider.
Through you, Mr. President, to Engineer Schneider. I know in the past we had discussed with East Broad Street being reconstructed from South Abbey to 57, repainting the stripes. I don't know, is that on the agenda at all? I think they're probably, if I'm not mistaken, they're pretty dull. I can't remember if we said anything was going to be addressed with those or if it's something we can look into. Thank you.
We can look into it. I mean, a lot of times we do hire a contractor to go out there and put some long-term striping in. That area over there, we are, I think it might be in the referral list even, trying to get some NOACA dollars to take care of that area a little bit, so.
Great, thank you.
Ms. Sawerka.
Thank you, through you. I was just curious, with the tariffs and pricing, and will the cost of the materials for asphalt increase? Do we have any idea? I don't even, the aggregate and other things that go in it?
I haven't heard a lot. A lot of the stuff, for at least road-wise, is domestic. And with oil prices down, that's a good thing as well. At least the stone, that's domestic. But I haven't heard a lot in regards to prices yet. We'll know when we start opening some of these bids here very shortly, though. But we will reach out to the contractors and some of the suppliers and try to.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Armstrong?
Through you, President. Mr. Snyder, is there any update on the lead service lines on 9th Street for the repair?
Unfortunately, I'm not the point for that. That's being done through the water distribution. I know they have been moving along pretty quickly. They're right now over on the west side on Louisiana right now, but they are moving quick, I can tell you that. So they should have it, they should be over there soon.
Any other questions? Very good. Thank you, Mr. Schneider. I think that's everybody. President's referrals and remonstrances. Item number 1, community development. Item number 2, finance. Item number 3, finance. Item number 4, finance. Item number 5, finance. Item number 6, finance and utilities. Item number 7, finance and utilities. Item number 8, finance and utilities. Item number 9, finance and utilities. Item number 10, finance and utilities. Item number 11, finance and utilities. Item number 12, finance and utilities. Items 13, utilities. Item 14, utilities. Items 15 through 19, received and placed on the file in the clerk's office. Petitions and remonstrances from the lobby.
There are none?
Petitions and remonstrances from council members.
There are none.
Reports of standing and special committees.
We have one. We have two. Excuse me. We have considered the matter of a liquor license liquor stock transfer as requested by Black River Tavern, first floor, 1100 Gulf Road, and the city of Elyria does not request a hearing.
Mr. Schneider,
Mr. President, I ask that this committee report be passed under suspension of rules.
Second.
second by Ms. Mitchell. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Committee Report 2025-2. We have considered the matter of a new liquor license permit as requested by Cubano King LLC, 827 Cleveland Street, and the city of Elyria does not request a hearing.
Mr. Schneider,
Mr. President, I ask this committee report be passed under suspension of rules.
Second.
second by Ms. Mitchell. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Committee Report 2025-3. That's all the committee reports.
Resolutions, first reading.
There are none.
Resolutions, second reading.
There are none.
Resolutions, third reading.
There are none.
Ordinances, first reading.
Sponsored by Utilities and Finance, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to submit an application for and accept, if offered, the Safety Intervention Grant through the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation for the Parks and Recreation Department.
Ms. Mitchell,
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed on its first reading under suspension of rules.
Second.
second by Ms. Davis. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2025-66. Sponsored by Utilities and Finance, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation for the purchase of road salt and declare an emergency.
Ms. Mitchell,
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed on its first reading under suspension of rules and declared an emergency.
second by Ms. Davis. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2025-67. Sponsored by Utilities and Finance, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Browning Ferris Industries of Ohio, Inc., doing business as Republic Services of Elyria for solid waste container services.
Ms. Mitchell?
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed on its first reading under suspension of rules.
Second.
Second by Mr. Armstrong. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2025-68. Sponsored by Community Development and Finance, an ordinance approving the application of Eric Scalise, agent of 140 Middle Avenue LLC for improvements at 140, 142, 144, 146, and 148 Middle Avenue, Elyria, Ohio, pursuant to the Downtown Facade Improvement Program created by ordinance 2019-19.
Mr. Schneider?
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed in its first reading under suspension of rules.
Second.
Second by Mr. Tolet. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2025-69. An ordinance amending ordinance number 2025-60 to increase the not-to-exceed amount for the purchase of a vacant lot on Woodford Avenue, Elyria, Ohio, 44035, and declare an emergency.
Mr. Tolet?
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed in its first reading under suspension of rules and declared an emergency and this is without the benefit of a committee report.
Is a motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Schneider. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2025-70. That's all ordinances first reading.
Ordinance the second reading.
An ordinance granting a conditional use permit pursuant to Chapter 1135 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Elyria, Ohio, to Jeremy Moen, JDJ Mobile Entertainment, Inc., and SG Taylor LLC for office space, record sessions, and promotional services at real property located at 910 Taylor Street, Unit C, Elyria, Ohio.
I declare this ordinance has had its second reading. Public hearing is scheduled for May 19th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
An ordinance amending Section 1131.02 Codified Ordinances of the City of Elyria, Ohio, known as the zoning ordinance to rezone certain real property located at 620 East River Street, Elyria, Ohio, from a R-TH Residential 2 Household District to a B-G Business General District.
I declare this ordinance has had its second reading. Public hearing is scheduled for May 19th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
An ordinance amending Section 1131.02 Codified Ordinances of the City of Elyria, Ohio, known as the zoning ordinance to rezone certain real property located at 630 East River Street, Elyria, Ohio, from a R-TH Residential 2 Household District to a B-G Business General District.
I declare this ordinance has had its second reading. Public hearing is scheduled for May 19th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
That's all ordinances, second reading.
Ordinances, third reading.
There are none.
Committee calls.
Community Development requests the Law Director, Safety Service Director, Building Inspector, and Engineer on Monday, 5/12, beginning at 6 p.m. Joint CD Finance requests the Mayor, Law Director, Finance Director, Safety Service Director, and Engineer on Monday, 5/12, immediately found the CD. Finance requests the Mayor, Law Director, Finance Director, Safety Service Director, and Engineer on Monday, 5/12, immediately found the joint. Utilities request the Mayor, Law Director, Finance Director, Safety Service Director, and Engineer on Wednesday, 5/7, beginning at 6 p.m. And Strategic Planning requests the Mayor, Safety Service Director, Finance Director, Law Director on Monday, 5/19, immediately following full council meeting.
Miscellaneous and unfinished business? Ms.
Mr. President, seeing none, I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. This meeting is adjourned.